Why, oh why, does Hydra unlock at account level 45, man? It's way too soon. You need an AoE block debuffs, okay? You need a reliable provoker champion for the Head of Decay. You need an AoE decreased speed to keep all of the Hydras nice and slow for you. An AoE HP burner will go a long way, though it, I guess, isn't completely mandatory. A reviver is going to be very, very important as well. A debuff cleanser for your team, right? Some debuff removal. And at account level 45, you probably don't have all of these things, and getting involved in Hydra for the first time might seem extremely intimidating, man. So here's a whole bunch of completely free champions, login reward champions, champs that you can grind out just by hitting secret rooms in Doom Tower, collecting fragments. Super accessible champions that you can build out if you need them at the time you get them to help you out in Hydra. So first off, man, a provoker in the form of good old Drexthar Blood Twin. I actually have all 100 fragments of this guy. I am ready to fuse him myself, and you buy his fragments one at a time on a 24-hour cooldown, okay, over the course of a few months, like 4 months or something, by farming Tag Arena, and you buy his fragments in the Tag Arena Bazaar. And hopefully you guys can't hear my cat going absolutely berserk in the background. So why is Drexthar so good? Well, he is a pretty reliable, well, a decent-ish HP burner. On his A1, he's got a triple hitter with a chance to apply HP burn, which is lovely, and on his passive, when attacked, okay, so when an enemy hits into him, he's then got the 75% chance of applying an HP burner against the attacker, you know? And a few of the Hydra heads do AoE attacks, and so he can get this HP burn up on a few of the heads, just tick for some decent damage. But most importantly with Drexthar, it's about a provoker, again, for the Head of Decay. If you do not provoke the Head of Decay in Hydra, that Hydra head is going to cleanse all debuffs from all of its bros, and then it's going to give them things like 10-meter boosts and things like that. It's just a really bad time, and things will spiral out of control very quickly, right? So the provoke on Drexthar is an attack all enemies with a 60% chance buck to placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn, except he actually doesn't require skill bucks necessarily, because this chance increases to 100% if the target is under HP burn. So as long as you get an HP burn up on the Head of Decay, then this becomes a 100% chance of applying provoke. Drexthar is one of those rare legendary champs that you can just kind of leave unbucked, and he can give you a good amount of value. That said, the skill bucks will eventually reduce the cooldown of his provoke by 110 as well, and so that can give you enough value to maybe justify just funneling the skill bucks into Drexthar if you have them to spare. But yeah, completely free. And you know what? As long as you're hitting Tag Arena as soon as possible, you can get him secured on your account 4 months in, as long as you're being very diligent about hitting Tag Arena every day and buying his fragments up one at a time from the Bazaar. And hey man, speaking of completely free champions, if you want to kickstart a new Raid Shadow Legends account and get your hands on Rector Dreth and the Epic Support Champion Tagore on the very same account, all you gotta do is sign up to Raid using my promo link down below. You get Tagore about 20 minutes after completing the tutorial. It will appear in your inbox. Then you get Rector Dreth as soon as your account hits level 25. Now, a quick word of warning, if you already have an existing Raid account, then if you want to start over using that promo link, make sure to hit that promo link on a device that has never had Raid Shadow Legends installed before. Otherwise, you will not get your hands on these juicy free rewards. Crazy limitation from Plarium, but I think it's worth shouting out. Anyways, man, sign up with that link. It's one of the best beginner promo links going. That's it, really. Next up, even as a beginner player, you want to make sure that you are farming the crap out of whatever you can in normal and even hard mode Doom Tower. Just get as far up as you can and make sure that you are farming out the pink secret rooms. And of course, my cat chooses right now to just go absolutely mental behind me on a bloody cat tower. She's having a good time, man. Hey, it's all good. So yeah, hit these secret rooms. You will get champion fragments, which you can then eventually fuse into just a free champion reward for hitting your secret rooms, right? So just make sure that you are doing as much as you can in Doom Tower, even as a beginner player. And the second Doom Tower reward champion you will eventually get your hands on is going to be good old Akoth the Seared. Where is he? There he is, man. Good old HP burner for the Demon Spawn faction. This guy, a little bit of a Chad. He's going to help you out quite a bit into Spider as well if you need an AoE HP burner for that, but mostly into Hydra. Oh yes, his damage is going to be really quite excellent. His A2 attacks all enemies with a 20% chance of placing HP burn for a couple of turns. The chance of placing the debuff increases by 20% for each living enemy. There are 4 Hydra heads, meaning it's basically 100% chance to apply HP burn. You also don't need to buck this guy up. He does not get increased chance to place the debuff or decreased cooldown or whatever from skill bucks, so you can just leave him as he is if all you care about is his HP burn for Hydra. He does, however, benefit from bucks eventually. He's quite buck hungry, but on his A3 he does have a HP shield attacks all enemies, blah, 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 blah. Increase the cooldown of all skills by 2 turns and enemies under HP burn. Also places a shield buff equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for a couple of turns. Has a little bit of synergy with another champion that we're also going to cover just now as well. You don't necessarily have to run them together or build out both of them. But yeah, Akoth the Seared, very, very good AoE HP burn champ. It's kind of like a failsafe if in your shard pulling adventures or misadventures, if you get very, very unlucky and you just don't find any HP burners, then this is a good, reliable way to get your hands on one. Next up, we got good old Ryan the Conjurer, man. Or is it Ryan the Conjurer? I don't know, man. Ryan sounds way cooler, you know what I'm saying? So you get your hands on Ryan as the Secret Room reward from normal Doom Tower right after Akoth. So he's the 3rd champ you will get from Secret Room fragments, right, as you're collecting those. He does have a little bit of synergy with Akoth, with his revive, but once again, don't build both of them just for the sake of it. They combo together, sure, but it's more important in early days in Hydra to be building stuff that you need and things that you are missing to take into Hydra. If you've already got a decent reviver, then you probably don't need Rian the Conjurer. If you've already got an Arbiter, for example, you probably don't need Rian, right? His single target revive is fine. It's a 410 cooldown, not bad. Single target, of course. But, you know, as far as epic champs go, pretty decent. He also has an AoE remove all buffs from all enemies, and also has a 100% chance buck to placing strong version of weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Pretty good. Good into Hydra as well. Removing the buffs from all enemies, not super reliable into Hydra. It's much better to just block buffs against Hydra. Don't let them buff in the first place, because if they do and they get a poison cloud, for example, yeah, that can't be removed, right? It's a protected buff. And so really the weaken is the main feature of this A2 going into Hydra, but it's pretty good. And then on the A1, he brings a 70% chance bucked of placing block buffs debuff for 2 turns, which is quite important for the Head of Mischief. Otherwise, the Head of Mischief will attack into your champ that has the most buffs, steal all of those buffs, and then use a buff spread skill and buff up the rest of the Hydra heads, which is, yeah, not great. So ideally, you already have an AoE block buffs champion on your team that can just maintain that debuff up on all of the Hydra heads at all times, and you never have to worry about it. But if for whatever reason you're that resists or something, then Rian at least has a little bit of a failsafe to help keep the block buffs up on the Head of Mischief. All in all, though, a pretty solid Hydra Hydra champ. If you're requiring something like a reviver and you need the weaken debuff as well, then hell, he's a good one to bring along. Next up, we've got good old Syl of the Drakes, man. And let me tell you something, dude. People always talk about Syl about, ooh, she's been power crept, man. She's not that good anymore. You shouldn't max her out, bro. You gotta stop saying that, man. I swear to God, more seasoned veteran players, of course, are gonna look at Syl's kit and say, legendary. She looks more like a slightly stronger than average epic, maybe to me, you know? And you know what? That's correct if you're a veteran player. But when you're 6 months into raid and you're a brand new player, you gotta think, man, I swear to God, a lot of people don't even consider this fact. You know, right? I'd lay down money, okay? I'd bet my kidney that 90% of Raid Shadow Legends players who start playing this game don't even start playing with a promo link. You know that, right? You understand that 90% of new players starting out this game and not watching YouTube videos like you guys, right? They're not getting like the scoop on what the best beginner promo cards are to get Sun Wukong and Rector Drath and the To-Go for free on their beginner account, you know? They're not getting these scoops, man. They're not getting these offers, man. They're boomers on their phones, okay? On their work break and stuff like that. For 90% of players out there, hell, 95% of players out there, Syl of the Drake's absolutely worth maxing out. Usually 6 months into your account, you're still garbage. You're missing so much stuff. She brings immense wave control. She brings a decreased speed on the A1. Just 2 really, really nice to have tools that are going to be helpful into lots and lots of areas in the game. But specifically for Hydra, the decreased speed is okay. It's a little bit of a nice to have. It's about the healing and the revive, right? So she heals all allies by 10% of the max HP at the start of each turn. Also places a increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. And this is every turn she has, man. Just get her in as many. Christ, some nice fast relentless gear. Can give her the extra 10 proc every now and again. Other than that, you can just put her in perception and speed and she can do just fine. And of course, she brings a single target revive with ally protect as well on her 410 cooldown on her A3. And so because she's just so accessible and she provides just so much stability to a team, and she brings that revive, which believe me, you're gonna need as you're just learning Hydra and just getting started in Hydra and stuff. Yeah, Syl of the Drakes, she has to be a recommendation, man. She just does. And has she been power crept compared to other more like recent legendaries and stuff? Yeah, she probably has. But you know what? she's free. And at a time when your account is 6 months deep, she's probably a lot better than most stuff that you've got. Next up, another champ, and a champ that I'm going to be covering again in a video sometime soon, talking about the most underrated free-to-play champions that you just get as completely free rewards in Raid. We've got good old Physics, the Unbowed, man. Look at their crap reviews. Don't be fooled by them. I think that most people who play Raid at this point know that, yeah, these reviews are not really to be trusted. She released in quite a weak state and was since buffed, and so that's why the reviews are especially misleading, but she's a fantastic, fantastic provoker into Hydra, and her kit is sweet. She's got a double hitter A1, she's got a decreased speed debuff on an AoE on the A2, and then an ally protect on all allies as well on the A2, so dude, she's bringing two big tools here that increase survivability. The decreased speed, again, is one of those fundamental tools that every Hydra team should be bringing. And not just that, but she also brings that all-important provoke on a 310 cooldown. Attack all enemies, place a provoke debuff for 110, and a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 10s. Very, very good indeed. Of course, that she's Void Affinity also means that she can't weak hit into the Hydra heads as well, and so the provoke is always going to have that big, saucy, like 97% land rate as long as you're building her with enough accuracy. And yeah, she's just all in all a great champ that absolutely deserves to have her bloody reviews reset, because even though the Hydra one is quite accurate because she was released, she was garbage, and then I think Hydra was released, and then somewhere in between she was buffed up. So our Hydra reviews are actually like quite accurate, but everything else makes her look completely trash. Like she's actually decent into Fire Knight and a lot of other areas of the game, but good old Physics the Unbowed, man. Next up we've got good old Arbiter, which, yeah, if you're a new player, you don't know how to get your hands on Arbiter, then you haven't been paying attention, okay? Because the game does actually tell you, just complete your missions. That's it really. You got a little missions button when you're at home in your Bastion. Just complete your missions, work your way towards Arbiter. That's it. I still don't have her yet. I'm nearly 7 months into Raid, which means I think I'm pretty late on the Arbiter train at this point. And it's mostly because of the bloody Great Hall missions, dude. Oh my god, why did nobody warn me that I had to just max out one of the nodes on the Great Hall, man? Dude, look at it. Look at it. I'm shaming myself right now. This is all from when I just started playing the game. Ooh, I'm going to put a little bit here, a little bit there, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw the Arbiter missions. What the hell, man? I need to take one of these nodes up to level 10 to finish the Arbiter missions? I don't have those arena medals, bro, so now I'm panicking and I'm having to blast arena every single day as much as I possibly can to try and catch up on this. And oh my god, dude. Yeah, make sure that you read ahead where you can with the Arbiter missions to avoid any crazy pitfalls like that. But yeah, she's an incredible Hydra champ for getting you started. She brings a weaken debuff on the A1, small chance to place. She has an attack all enemies on the A2, decrease the duration of enemy buffs by 110. It's not really that useful into Hydra for the reasons that we already discussed with Rian the Conjurer as well, so I won't go into that one too much. But the A3, place strong version of increased attack buff on allies for 2 turns, then fills the turn meter of allies by 30%. Also heals allies by 25% of their max HP if they're basically dying. Okay, it's on a 310 cooldown. Very, very good skill for just team stability. Pumping more turns in across your entire team. The attack buff is obviously great. And then on the A3, revives all dead allies to 35%, and then fills their turn meters by a little bit as well. Grants an extra turn to this champion if an ally was successfully revived. So there you go, dude. It's actually a 4-turn cooldown revive if you think of it that way, right? Yeah, Arbiter just all in all a great champ. She's probably going to be one of the first like big AoE revivers on your account by the time you get her, unless you've got like some really saucy shard pulls going. And as all round a very, very solid champ into Hydra. Now, another champ that I will touch on, I guess that you probably want to hold on to, is going to be Yannicka. And of course you get Yannicka by completing quests for your clan and then spending those clan coins on Yannicka fragments every week that they refresh in the clan shop. Now, Yannicka isn't just outright like a super account-changing champ that, you know, you're 6 months in and you're starting to take on Hydra and do like your first Hydra keys, and she's just going to make like this big massive difference to what you got going on, right? She's not that kind of champ. She is a champ that can scale up over time, and you can maybe build a massive like billion damage team around her in the distant future. And so what you do is you use her in a Wixwell Hydra team, right? Most people have heard of the Wixwell clan boss team, where you're going into Demon Lord and you build infinity Wixwell shields, and so the clan boss can just never kill your team, right? You can do a similar-ish thing into Hydra where you build infinity shields. The team is quite expensive to build, but why is it so good? Well, because the idea is you build infinity shields with your Wixwell, right? Million or 2 million health shields or whatever on your entire Hydra squad. And then you allow the head of Mischief and Hydra to steal the shield, okay? And then spread the shield to all of the other Hydra heads, giving them all ridiculous shield health. And then you use Yannika's A3. Attacks all enemies, will ignore shield buffs, remove shield buffs from targets if this champion is under a Veil buff or Perfect Veil, then deal extra damage equal to 15% of the value of the removed shield buffs. You can hit hundreds of millions in a single click on every... Dude, on just every use of this skill. It's ridiculous as hell. Now, the team is very, very RNG based, takes a hell of a lot of setup, and so it's not really a recommendation, again, to get you started into Hydra. I do think that because she is a free-to-play champion, you can get a, just completely free-to-play, that she is worth mentioning in this video, even if she doesn't really fit the criteria of what this video is all about. Now for some later game champs. These are champs that are going to take just a little bit longer to get your hands on, but can be champs to kind of keep your eye on or to aim towards as you're looking to develop out your account. The first one is going to be Val the Destroyer, which, by the way, look at his reviews, man. Oh my god. I don't know if he was released in like a really, really bad state or something, but this is definitely an S tier Hydra damage dealer champ, and it's mostly because of his passive. Oh, how do you get your hands on Val? So Val is one of the later rewards from secret rooms in hard mode Doom Tower, so it's going to take you much, much longer time to actually get your hands on Val the Destroyer, and maybe that's why his reviews are low. Maybe by the time you get him, you don't quite need him as much in many other areas of the game, and so he's kind of just been cracked on a little bit by the later game reviews, you know? But yeah, his passive's crazy as hell, man. Increase this champion's attack by 10% each time they use an active skill. Stacks up to 100%. Bro. In longer boss fights, basically Hydra, this passive is just flat out doubling Val's damage for like the entire fight, pretty much. And yet, to be honest, after just like scanning over his kit real quick, maybe some of the reviews, like maybe the reviews should be a little low. Not this low, obviously not this low. But yeah, his kit's kind of simple beyond his passive. He just smacks things really hard, right? It's just like a single hitter A1. The A2, attack all enemies. 100% chance bucked, to be fair, of placing strong weaken for a couple of turns. Also place decreased attack for 2 turns on enemies who receive the weaken debuff. So brings 2 pretty powerful debuffs on the A2, but he's mostly just about smacking stuff. He's got a single hitter as well on the A3 that ignores target's defense by 30%. He just hits really hard when it comes to just pure damage dealers into Hydra. Yeah. A tier at a minimum, if not like a baseline for S tier. Maybe his negative reviews are kind of because by the time you get him, you've already just got better Hydra damage dealers, maybe. Maybe that's part of it as well, man. I'm not far enough into the game to be able to confirm or deny that. Next champ we've got to touch on is going to be good old Mithrala Lifebane, who, would you know it, you actually get from farming Hydra and getting Hydra chests. So make sure that as soon as you can put together even a budget team and start farming just the very, very basic Hydra chests, doing like 5 million damage or something. You start doing that because you're going to start to collect Mithrala fragments nice and early. Yeah. The reviews on Mithrala are actually pretty accurate. She's just kind of a Giga Chad everywhere. So the A1 is a double hitter with basically 100% chance of placing a strong version of poison for an A1. Kind of unbelievable, if I can speak. Not great into Hydra, obviously, but this A2, attack all enemies, place a Hex debuff for 2 turns. Also places a strong version of increased defense and increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. 2 massive, massive buffs. The Hex, obviously, crucial into Hydra. Something that I didn't know until I even started playing into Hydra, something that the guides never seem to mention, is that you literally cannot reliably target the Head of Mischief unless it has a Hex debuff on it, okay? And it's quite important that you can target the Head of Mischief, especially to place things like the Block Buffs debuff on that head. And yeah, just the Hex debuff is massive for that and for maximizing the damage of your team. Of course, bookable down to a 3-turn cooldown. And then on the A3, remove all debuffs from all allies and place Strengthen and Shield buff on allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. Crazy as hell. Debuff removal is obviously good everywhere, especially good into Hydra. You've got fears, you've got goddamn poisons, you've got heal reduction to deal with, provokes, a lot of crap to deal with in Hydra. Mithrala is going to help you out with that too. Next up, in a champion I'm just not going to cover the skills of, because frankly, I just don't like doing it when it comes to these bloody mythical champions and their transforms, you know, but Good old Lady Mikage, as soon as you can get this fusion done, get it done. She's going to help you out in Hydra as well. She's more of like a long-term plan thing as well, but she has some crazy buff and debuff manipulation skills on her A2, which are great. She brings increased attack and increased crit damage, and an ally attack skill all wrapped up into one. I mean, that's Lady Mikage, okay? She's got a mythical champ that you can get for free. Just build her. That's really all there is to it, man. No reason to go any further into that. And then, of course, we've also got to cover good old Lydia. There she is. So Lydia, you get your hands on by, of course, maxing out the Faction Wars game mode and just maxing out every single faction crypt that you possibly can to get your hands on Lydia. She brings on her A3 a double header that has a 100% chance booked, actually, of placing a block buffs debuff, which is lovely into Hydra. She's kind of good into many, many areas of the game as well, of course, but strictly speaking, when it comes to Hydra, her A2 is also very, very powerful as well. Attack all enemies, 100% chance of placing strong decreased defense and weaken debuffs for 2 turns. Also place, strengthen, and increase speed buff on allies for 2 turns as well. Oh my god, dude. The amount of value and kind of bases that she's covering here in one skill, just sort of unbelievable. And yeah, needless to say, Lydia the Death Siren is just insane everywhere, man, so don't worry about it. Anyway, that's all I got. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure to go ahead and use promo code GameLoop to get your hands on a free energy refill, 10 free experience brews, and 100,000 silver. And if you have already used code GameLoop, then share it with your clanmates. I'm sure they'll be happy as Larry. If you feel I missed any sweet, juicy, saucy, free-to-play champions in this video that are just solid into Hydra, and especially those that can help newer players get started, then make sure to drop them down below in a comment. We're all about helping out the new players on this channel. I myself being still a moderately new player myself, you know, so it's good for me to do these videos and sort of remind myself of stuff that I've got to be looking out for as my account progresses. But hey, thanks for watching. Hope you all did enjoy this one, and I'm going to catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.